Russell Wilson. Speaking of quarterbacks who have moved on to second marriages, how about Russell Wilson? Shockingly, Wilson, who comes with a bit of a holier-than-a-preacher boy kind of vibe, has actually had a slew of dating controversies floating around him ever since he broke into the NFL back in 2012. We can get the obvious fact that he's now married to one of the biggest pop stars in the world in Ciara. But the older stuff is where it gets spicy for the man known to himself as Mr. Unlimited. For starters, he was previously married when he broke into the league, to his high school sweetheart no less. The two ended up getting a divorce in April of 2014, and there was a rumor that she cheated on Russ with then teammate Golden Tate, which may or may not have resulted in Percy Harvin's decision to punch Tate in the face during the week of Super Bowl 48. It was then rumored that Wilson was linked to Tate's wife. And then Detroit Lions tight end Joseph Foria called out Wilson on Twitter, alleging that the quarterback was hooking up with his girlfriend, former WWE diva Erica Hammond. Not exactly the same Captain America image that Wilson tries to portray in the media. At least he was able to put some of that craziness behind him now that he's with Ciara.
All right, folks. I knew it wasn't crazy, and I knew I had seen these rumors before, but shout out to Dollar Will. I'll put the link to his channel in the description. Came through. You know, I got researchers all over the place, so so he came through with this one. So the clip that you just saw was from TSB, and they do sports programming, right? They're into this kind of stuff. And he basically said what I said about Russell Wilson. The clip, the whole video is probably like 10, 12 minutes long, and it covers more than just Russell Wilson. But what he just said was what I said about Russell Wilson years ago, before he got married to Ciara. And what Russell Wilson was doing is not unusual in pro sports, in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, hockey, you name it. Hell, even soccer. This stuff happens. The soccer stuff doesn't happen here, but it happens in Europe. This is common. And I always say this about 100 Octane people, men and women. They pass each other around. That is not unusual. The celebrities, because athletes are considered celebrities. Even high-level drug dealers underground, they're actually considered celebrities. They have a name. They have a reputation. And drug dealers, rappers, high-level men like that pass their women around because they have been vetted. I've said that before. And so all the guys thinking that Russell Wilson is a simp. He's a choir boy. He's a preacher's kid. And he got taken in by Ciara is exactly false. In fact, I don't even know if I even heard of Russell Wilson dating a black girl before Ciara. Now, did he want her? Sure. If Russell Wilson just really wanted to sleep with Ciara and date her, he could have dated her and screwed her for 2-3 years and pushed her to the side if that's what he really wanted. He could have. She was open for that. And he has the status to pull her. He could have pulled Ciara without marriage. In fact, Ciara was going back and forth with her baby daddy. It was really easy to pull her without marriage. In fact, he did date her without, even though it was without sex, he did date her for a whole year without marriage. But if he's going to marry her and take financial responsibility for her, he's got to be sure. He's not stupid. Russell, officially, he's only had 2 women. That's officially. We ain't even counting the jump offs. We ain't even counting the call girls, the jump offs, the wife swapping. I told you that him and Golden Tate were swapping wives. And I do believe Percy Harvin's wife was in that mix. And all the women here that was associated with before he got married to Ciara are all white. Russell Wilson was considered to be a white guy. He He had a white guy's vibe. He had white girlfriends. He had a white wife. He was considered white. Golden Tate's, I think his name was Golden Tate, his wife was white. He wasn't really known in the hip hop or the black world. Okay, other than being in the NFL, which basically most of the NFL fans are what? White, especially in Seattle. And there's certain people that are not going to rock with you if you have a white wife. It makes sense to get a Ciara. And like the man said, Ciara is a pop icon. That's how come you can use her first name and everybody knows her. Class for cash. Everybody thinks that there's this huge difference between Future and Russell Wilson, and there isn't. Russell Wilson been banging chicks like this when he was 12, where Future was struggling, trying to get chicks. Future didn't start getting chicks until he got into the rap game. Before Future really got a whole bunch of these women, these chicks, in fact, Future's only had, one celebrity chick? 2 if you count Scottie Pippen's wife? Russell Wilson been having these chicks since he was in middle school and high school. He just happened to go to a white high school and basically a white college. He's been doing this forever. Anybody that's been on campus knows that the campus star, the campus quarterback, he has his pick. Just nobody talked about it. I'm sure if you go back to Wisconsin or even North Carolina and ask those chicks on campus or the guys on campus who Russell Wilson was banging, they could give you a whole list. He ain't no choir boy. He ain't no simp. Russell Wilson is not even a nice guy. Russell Wilson is calculating. He always has been. That's how come he moved from one college to the next. He couldn't get a starting position where he was at North Carolina. So guess what he did? But he had balls. He moved to Wisconsin. He transferred to Wisconsin. Took a seat and then came back and started. And then made it to the NFL. That's balls. That's gutsy. Simps don't have those kind of balls. Because he has a slight lisp and he looks like he's a geek doesn't mean that he is. But that's the image that he has and he plays to it. And you guys take that image, take that persona, and you guys swallowed hook, line, and sinker. Who's the fool, him or you? That Russell Wilson lost. No, he didn't. Same way Dre didn't lose because he took Sedale Threatt's wife. Same way that Shaq didn't lose because he took some other random dude's wife. The same way that Stephen Curry, who thinks everybody's a choir boy and is a simp, got 3 side chicks. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. On that level, sex and picking a woman or getting a woman is not a problem. Well, he could have got a pretty chick without kids, and you're gonna marry them. They don't have the pull or the reputation that Ciara has. There's only a handful of these chicks. There's only a handful. Carrie Hilson does not have the pull that Ciara has. She just doesn't. Ciara is not quite, not quite on the level of Janet Jackson, but they're very similar. Regardless of what you think, you might not think very much about her music, but guess what? Ciara can pull up anywhere in any major city and get an interview. She got enough pull to any major event from the Academy Awards on the way down to the BET Awards. She can get a ticket in. She got that kind of pull. She got that kind of reputation. She'll be on a guest list. She can get Russell Wilson in places that he can't get on his own. And vice versa. She has a market now because she is married to Russell Wilson that she didn't have before. She's got that upscale corporate white man pull now because Russell Wilson pulls her in, and he's got a pretty black wife on his arm. And plus, trust and believe, white guys are way more comfortable with Russell Wilson being with a Ciara than being with the chick that he was with. Because he dumped his wife after 2 years. And, she wasn't pretty enough. Let's put it that way. The white woman that he's with, his high school sweetheart, had followed him since he was like 15 and followed him from school to school. He got rid of her after 2 years. She was upset. Well, she can't be too upset because she got replaced by a better version. Names matter. Markets matter. Fan bases matter. I remember when they first started dating, all of a sudden his jersey sales went up. You had black women, black girls wearing Russell Wilson jerseys. That's good for your brand. How many athletes in the NFL can you name their girlfriend or their wives? If you go to TSP, follow the link. He names about 4 or 5 guys that did the exact same thing, including Tom Brady. The exact same thing that Russell Wilson did, including Tom Brady. We ain't gonna talk about the other NFL athletes that are banging chicks out in bathroom stalls, which is stupid and reckless. Other than Ciara and other than Scottie Pippen's wife, name the 5 chicks. Basically, how famous are the other 5 chicks Future had kids by? And Future is the biggest trick on the planet, believe it or not. He's tricking for these chicks. He's flying them out on private jets. Ciara didn't get that kind of treatment. Ciara had to show up at his practice during camp with the baby in his jersey. She had to put out. She had to put herself on Front Street. Russell Wilson didn't have to do all that. Russell Wilson did not have to do very much to get Ciara. He really didn't. He didn't spend a whole bunch of money on her. In fact, Ciara didn't get all this stuff until what? Till they got married. Regardless of what you think, Future spent way more money on Ciara than Russell Wilson did, because Russell Wilson didn't have to. And at the time, Future was worth more money than Russell was. Russell wasn't worth that amount of money when they first started dating. In fact, one of my subs told me Russell Wilson was still on his rookie contract. He was still on his rookie contract when they started dating, when they met, when they were introduced. I don't think they met. I think they were introduced. I think this was a matchmaking thing where Russell showed interest and he got with certain parties, and certain parties got her parties got with her, and they hooked up. He laid down his Mac, he laid down his ism, he laid down his game, and guess what happened? She went for it, but he said, look, this is what you're going to have to do for me. You got to go through a cleanse to prove that you're down. And guess what she did? She was the one that complained about it. She actually did. I wish I could find a sound where she said the struggle that she went through to be celibate for that whole year. But she did it. Hey, you got caught up being baby mama number 4, or is it 5? I think it's 4. And you screwed up. You went for the okie doke. And when he tried to lock you down, you didn't want to get locked down, so you split. Trust and believe, I've seen that more times than not. They went for the initial okie doke. They get in and say, oh, this ain't for me, and they bounce. How many of those other baby mamas trying to marry Future? How many? People think that Ciara's just some other baby mama. No, she's not. You don't get that many chicks. There ain't that many high octane chicks that are on that level, on the celebrity level. The only thing above Ciara is probably royalty. You have a very narrow margin of beauty queens, but beauty queens marry CEOs, much like the girl, the playmate that married Robert F. Smith. In fact, maybe one day, well, he probably wouldn't, because that's on his private site, where he actually, with Scorpio, cousin Tita, actually goes through the dimes, okay, that high octane, 100 octane woman, and there's levels to those high 100 octane women. And the chicks that Future messes with on a regular basis are the low level 100 octane chicks, the IG models, the OnlyFans girls, the chicks that get flown out, banged, and get sent back, which is one of those chicks. We have to do a video on that one day. But since cousin Tita hasn't released that list, that hierarchy, I can't give it to you, because I would love to give it to you because it's actually brilliant. But there's 5 levels of these 100 octanes. Shout out to cousin Tita. And Future actually messes with lower level, supposedly 100 octane chicks, the very lowest level 100 octane chicks. Okay, Ciara was his come up. And he screwed that up. If Future had got with Ciara, Future would be making a hell of a lot more money instead of beefing with her over a kid. The reason he beefed with her over a kid because it brought him clout. And the only reason it brought him clout is because she was attached to Russell Wilson. Nobody cared about Future and Ciara until Russell Wilson came into the picture. That actually gave him something to talk about, because Ciara elevated herself in status. The only fact, Ciara and Russell Wilson are more matched than Future and Ciara. Future is one of those lower level guys. He doesn't have the status, he doesn't have the pull, he doesn't have the the machinery behind him that Russell Wilson does. Russell Wilson has a $100 billion machine behind him. And Ciara is a complement to that. The only person that Ciara could have gotten that was above that is one of the owners or one of those billionaires. Above that, you have to do a Meghan Markle, which is even rare, where you get you a royalty, like European royalty or Asian royalty, where Naomi Osaka actually screwed up because she was cued to actually be with a Japanese royal family. And, she decided she was going to go with a low-level rapper, which Naomi's, you know what? I have to do, I like Naomi Osaka, and I'm okay with the dude that she's with. But in my opinion, Naomi Osaka screwed up. But that's a video for a different day. Well, all I'm saying is that this video proves exactly what I'm saying. That you guys constantly believe what you want to believe because there's two sides to this Russell Wilson thing. There's guys that are educated and see Russell Wilson as that educated nice guy or the educated lame or the high value man, whatever you want to call them in this group, whatever we're calling them to this day. Okay. And the guys that want to laugh at Russell Wilson because they say he's a simp and he's a sucker because they actually identify with Future. Future's identified as a street guy, as a hood dude, as a pookie, elevated pookie. So you got two sides that one are disparaging Russell Wilson because they don't like him because he's the antithesis of them. And the other side of guys that actually side with him and see him as a role model and want to be like him because they think that he's like them. And neither are correct. And this is proof. In fact, Russell Wilson, for the most part, if you think about it, other than Ciara, Russell Wilson doesn't even belong in the black world. He doesn't talk like it. He wasn't socialized to be in it. He's really never dated black women for the most part. Maybe did he have sex with black women here and there? I'm sure he did. But for the most part, Russell Wilson is basically a black guy, a white guy in black skin for the most part. Can't even talk about his grandfather. Grandfather did exactly the same thing. That's really how come Russell Wilson is mixed. His blood. You can look at Russell Wilson. His bloodline is mixed. But that's a story for a different day. Everything that glitters is not gold. When you get to the 100 octane level, especially, a lot of this stuff is illusion. And a lot of you guys look at the illusion and you swallow it like it's real. These people aren't who you think they are. That's how come Kevin doesn't even use them, because these people, for the most part, are not real. They're images. What you hear about them, unless it's leaked, unless somebody decides to tell what's on the outside, which Kwame Brown did a lot of, okay? All these images are very well manicured, unless some people go off script. So, anyway, that's all I got. I don't want to belabor and berate the point. All I'm saying is I told you guys what was up, but you guys want to be right. You guys want to be right. And guess what? 9 times out of 10, y'all don't know shit. I'm in LA. Okay. I know the kind of chicks that these people date. And I know what the shit that they do behind closed doors. Everybody think Magic is a good guy. Magic makes Future look like a choir boy. Magic makes Future look like a little kid in middle school. The only difference is Magic's smart enough to not have 7 baby mamas and banging little old IG models and chicks that talk. Trust and believe, 50 Cent's dating profile and background is not much better. But hey, that's the way it is. And sometimes your hype, you live out your hype. Hell, Chris Brown is better at it than most of these dudes. Anywho, that's all I got for you guys. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on